Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about some of Cricut's hand tools that I use pretty much every time I craft with one fashion or another. These are most of what I use on a daily basis. I have the Cricut paper trimmer and a little side pops out so that you have room for a full sheet of paper. And there's also storage back here to put your extra blades or your scoring blade, which will also fit in here if you have one. My spatula that I use to help get stuff off of the mats after I cut. My True Control knife that pretty much gets used for everything. I probably got 10 of these laying around the house because they get used everywhere. Reverse tweezers. I use these a ton, especially when working with little tiny pieces of cardstock or that sort of thing where I'm layering. And the Cricut scissors. These I use for so many things. I have some with my sewing machine. I have some in here in my regular craft room where I do my Cricut stuff. They're super pointy, super sharp, and it's also really handy that they have a cover. One of the big things I like about our Cricut tools is that we have holes in the handle, which means I can hang them. Makes them easier to store. And then also my Cricut brayer. I use this every time I craft because I use it to stick my material down to my mat and make sure it's nice and smooth and I don't have air pockets underneath it. Having said that, Cricut just came out with a brand new lineup of tools. They're basically the same tools. We're just getting a cool new color. So if you're into cool new colors, I've got some unboxing to do to show you. Actually, let's keep the True Control knife out because we might need it. First up is the True Control craft knife and weeding kit. This is amazing. I have another one of these that I have set up that I use with the weeding tools. So it's kind of handy to have more than one. And other than color, these are pretty much the same. The one benefit to this kit is that you get extra blades and you get the weeding blades with it in one setup instead of having to buy them separately. And if I can get this open, I will show you how it works. I do have a project we're going to do after I unbox these, and I will need weeding tools, so I will probably set it up with those. Silica packets. Don't eat these. Okay, so these are your weeding tools, and then these are just your standard, knife blades. And the way this works is this handle has a little window right here. In the position it's in now, it's locked. If you twist it, the lock is unlocked. When it's unlocked, that's how you add one of your other tools. Now, in my case, I'm going to be weeding, so let's go the other way. You basically just push this in until you hear it click. Once you hear it click, make sure your handle's locked. Now it's locked, and now I can just pull it out. And you do the same thing with your blades. What I usually do is I push my blade in, I unlock it, and then pull it out so my used blade stays in this container. That way I don't cut myself. Now the bad thing about these is you can't put your cap back on when you have a weeding tool in there. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so that is the weeding kit. And then they also did a new 45 millimeter rotary cutter. I do have my other one, but I'm not sure at the moment where I set it. But it's just got the white handle, so you're just getting the cool new blue color. Same with the reverse tweezers. Exact same tool, just a cool new color. They also redid their spatula. This spatula is amazing. I love this spatula compared to the other one. You can see that this other one is a little bit smaller, and this one's got the same edge on both sides, so this is a dream if you're left-handed. And something else I really liked about this one is that it's easier to get under your paper because this part of the blade is a little bit more flexible than this one is. So super handy. Love that new spatula. We got a brand new set of scrapers. These are, again, just like the old ones. All they did was change our color. And they also gave us brand new scissors in both sizes. We get the big pair and the little pair and the cover. And we also got a brand new paper trimmer in the same color. Okay, let's see. I am going to need a few of these tools for our project. I need the weeding tool. I'm going to need a scraper. See what I mean about that True Control knife? I use it for everything. Okay, so I got my scraper out, my weeding tools, and I might need the paper trimmer. I'm not really sure, but I'll go ahead and take it out anyway so that I can give you guys a close-up look. I bet that was obnoxiously loud. I do love my paper trimmer. I have several of these. Again, they are all over my house because I use them for everything. Okay, and you also, in this package, get 2 spare blades, which I will show you if I can get them out. Come on, let go. Might actually need a little pair of pliers to pry these out with. Okay, I'll get those out later. Anyway, you have 2 spare blades, and once again, they can store on the back of your paper trimmer. They just slide right in here. You put the blade in this little slot and slide it forward until it clicks. Now, you will notice when you get this paper trimmer, there's a little silicone piece here. That's just to protect the blade in shipping. Make sure you remove that. And you can see they did change our numbers. On our old one, our numbers aren't painted or anything. They're just indented. But on this one, they're actually colored so you can see them. And you do have inches and centimeters on both sides as well as on the clear track. And this one also has the pop-out arm. So you can go up to 13 inches this way and 13 inches this way. Actually, you can go 16 inches this way. Okay, I'm going to set this aside so I don't lose it. I want to make sure I get my blades out of there. For today's project, I'm going to be doing a vinyl decal that I'm going to put on the front of my Explorer 5 machine. I've had it for a while now and couldn't figure out how I wanted to decorate it, and I finally figured that out. I'm going to be using Cricut's holographic permanent vinyl. This isn't smart vinyl. You will need a mat. And I should only need 1 sheet. I have broken my design down into 2 pieces because the front of the machine is bigger than this sheet of vinyl is. Make sure I don't have anything stuck on my mat because I wouldn't want it to mess up my cut. And I'm just going to stick my vinyl on my mat. And I'm going to grab my brayer. And as you can see by the pattern you can see underneath it, my mat is very well used. But as long as my materials are sticking, I just keep right on using it. Okay, now let's turn you guys so you can see my machine. Okay, I think it'll stay. Move my cover. And open the door. And I already have my design up in Design Space. I will share the file for this in case anybody else wants it. I have it separated into 2 pieces so it will fit on the vinyl. It's only 4 inches tall, so 1 sheet should be plenty. I'm going to click Make It until I'm on the mat. And it's got my 2 pieces like right next to each other. They're from top and bottom. And I'm afraid I might have trouble with it if I do that, getting it cut and separating them. So I'm going to flip one of them around to make that a little easier. Okay, and then for materials, I need to go find this material. So I am going to choose all materials, and then I'm going to type in holographic into my search bar. And I'm going to choose holographic vinyl. And then it looks like we are ready to go. Now on the Explorer 5, you have what's called load and go. So once you push that play button, that's it. It does everything on its own. I make sure that my mat's under these two little tabs, and I make sure I'm pushed up against the rollers, and I give it a gentle nudge while I'm pushing the button. Then I just let go once it gets going. The pattern I'm cutting out is flowers, and there are several of them, so it might take it a minute to cut them all out. Okay, and it looks like we're done, so I'm going to hit my eject button. Now, I normally leave this on the sheet to do my weeding, but I don't really want to waste all of this extra. So I'm going to use my paper trimmer to trim it. As you can see, I have quite a bit. I have a big strip on both sides that wasn't used, so I don't want to waste that. Okay, let me tip you back down. Okay, so I got the spare blades out of the package, and I wanted to show you how they go on the back. They will come with this little plastic cover so you don't cut yourself, like in case you just wanted to put them in a drawer. But if you want to store them on the back of your machine, you put them in so the blade is pointing down into that groove, and you push until it clips into place. It's a great way to store them, and then if you ever take your paper trimmer with you somewhere, you won't lose them. And same thing over here. And if you happen to have the scoring one, that fits the same way, so you could just store your scoring one on the back, and then you have both. Okay, now what I like to do is I flip my mat over, and I kind of bend it away from my vinyl or my paper. This will help keep you from curling up your paper or your vinyl or whatever it is you're trying to peel off. Okay, and I'm going to, I think this is the bigger side. I want to make sure I don't accidentally cut my flowers. And then I'm going to also trim this side. So I want to find the flower that sticks out the furthest. And then I can save these scraps for later for another project. Okay, now we're done with the paper trimmer. No, I'm not. I forgot I still have to cut it in half. Now we're done with the paper trimmer. All right, now I'm going to grab my weeding pick. And I'm just going to grab it. I stabbed the corner. I find that tends to work best for me. You do need to be very careful with the holographic. It does tear really easily, as you saw just happened right here. I picked this design because I thought it was really pretty, but it's not super intricate. You will want to be careful when you're weeding this that you don't accidentally drop the vinyl that you've already pulled off back onto the sheet, because you will have a hard time getting it off. Okay, there we go. That's half of our design. Well, almost half. Let's see, I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Well, maybe I'm going to do the same thing. Yeah, I pick a different corner. There we go. Okay, now I pulled out my linerless transfer tape for my Joy because it's much closer in size to what I'm going to need. I do, however, want to hurry up and get my cover back on my mat. You always want to do that right away. It'll help keep your mat clean and make it last longer. And because I'm decorating the front of my actual machine, I'm going to need to move some things, and I'll have to turn off my machine and unplug it so I can actually put it over here where we can see what we're doing. So I'm going to tell Design Space that I am through with my design, and I'm going to close it out. And then turn off my machine. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is get our transfer tape on. Looks like about that much. Looks like I should have unpacked my scissors. Because I have really abused this pair, and they are not sharp anymore. Let's double check where I was. I'm going to go just a little bit bigger than I need because I can always trim it off if I've made it too big. And I am going to stick my hand on this just a little bit first. This holographic vinyl is shiny, and because of that, sometimes the transfer tape sticks a little too good. Now I'm just going to use my scraper to make sure that I've got it stuck down good. And we will trim off this excess to get it out of the way. Okay, now we'll do the same thing for this piece. Now I do want to try to line up my transfer tape along this bottom edge because that'll help me when I go to put it on my machine to make sure I get it on the machine straight, which I probably won't anyway. I'm not known for getting things on straight, nor am I known for cutting a straight line. Okay, and then we will take off this extra. Now, in my design space screen, these are set up like this. They go side by side like this. The bigger one is the one on the left, and then the smaller one goes on the right. Okay, now let me close up my machine. Okay, and we will bring it forward. Okay, I grabbed an alcohol prep pad because I want to make sure that my decal sticks and that I don't have a bunch of oils or dirt on the front of my door so that it causes a problem. And you want to make sure you let that completely dry before you try to stick anything to it. So let me push that forward out of the way a little bit. And now we're going to take this off of its backing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel my top sheet. I hope you guys can see this. I'm going to peel my top sheet. Well, it was the backing. And what you want to do, here, I'll do it this way. When you start to peel this back, lay it flat back against itself as you're peeling. And that will help you a lot to get it off of the actual decal. If you've ever had one that's stubborn and doesn't want to let go of your backer, this usually fixes that. Okay, now that's our bigger one. Now we're going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to lay this backer against itself. And we're good. Okay, so these are our two pieces that are now stuck to my fingers. Okay, now I have to stand up because I have to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so our bigger piece goes on this side. I'm going to take this one and just move it out of the way. That way I don't have any accidents with it. Of course, I might not be able to get my hands unstuck. Okay. Now we're going to take this one. And I made this so that it's just a tiny bit smaller than the door is, width-wise. Okay, that looks really good right there. Okay, and then you want to use your scraping tool and really burnish it down. This door has a micro texture, so it could cause it to not want to stick as well. Okay, and then to get your transfer tape up, we do the same thing we did with the backer. We start with a corner and we pull it back flat against itself. That'll help keep it from pulling it back up off of your machine. And go slow. If you try to go too fast, you'll either tear your vinyl or you'll pull it back off of whatever you're trying to stick it to. There we go. Okay, now for our other half. I think we're good right there. And again, you want to burnish this down really good. I had an air bubble right there. Glad I saw that before I started peeling. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab this corner down here. I'm going to come up slow until I can get a good edge. And then I'm just going to peel it back against itself. Now the reason I kind of rolled that is so that I don't accidentally stick it to the part that we already finished. Okay, now I got to go the other way. Okay, there we go. Now, if you need to push this down any more and your fingers aren't enough, I would suggest using a squeegee with a felt edge so that you don't scratch your vinyl. Okay, there we go. Look at how pretty that is. I love the holographic because it changes color depending on the way the light hits it. Well, I hope you enjoyed the project. I'll put a link for this down in the description. And happy crafting!